Yes, hello friends. This is Carl again on the 3rd of May. It's a Sunday. And I would like to give you some background information. Maybe that will enlighten you and explain a lot about the war in Iran. From another perspective, because I'm sure most of you are totally overloaded with information from experts and former military people and so on, going into detail about the war and give their predictions. But nobody really shows you the big picture, because there's one big question. And everybody with half a brain is wondering what's going on. First, let me give you an example. If there is somebody who closes the door, a little man pushes against the door to keep people out, right? So in this case, there might be somebody who wants the people to come in, to open the door, to let everybody through. And that is the United States. They tell the little man, Iran, who pushes against the door, to lock the door, to let the people in and fight a war for it. And at the same time, next to the little man, Iran, stands the big man and also pushes against the door, together with the little man. Both of them push, keep the door locked, keep the Straits of Hormuz locked. And the big man, the United States president, says, open the door, and pushes against it. That's what you probably think might be the case. So with other words, the war is by now to open the Strait of Hormuz, and the people involved, both of them push against it to keep it closed. Totally idiotic, you would say. But that's what I make this video for. I explain to you this war. I am the only one in this world who is telling you the truth about it. But before I tell you the truth exactly, I give you some information, some background information. Years back, there was the COVID-19 situation. A lot of people lost their lives. Many, many million. Where? Mostly in the Western world up here, some in Asia. Who died back then? Old people and sick people. Strange, this artificial virus was geared to kill the ones who get social security or are a burden to the system because they need medical aid. 1 second. Because we still have these pollen flying around here, it's crazy. So 5 years ago we had this artificial virus killing off the old and the sick because they're worthless to society. Now, in the meantime, of course, more and more of artificial intelligence is being used, and in the next 5 to 10 years or longer, as Elon Musk and his colleagues say and found out, that 80 to 90% of the human race, the human workforce, is not going to be needed. They're going to be obsolete. They are waste matter, living waste matter crawling around on the planet. Nobody needs them. So now we come to the point. Now I explain to you, and now I give you the formula what this war is for after step one, get rid of the old and get rid of the sick. Now, step three, get rid of the uneducated, enormously large group of humans, billions of them, which cannot be employed and going to be a hazard to the development of artificial intelligence and the times in the Western world, like in the United States and so on, where they want to live with this new technology undisturbed. I'll give you some information if you don't mind. We have about 8.2 billion people on this planet. Half of them are under 18 years old, and they multiply. I don't want to say what kind of animal does it, but maybe rabbits. Rabbit is always good. They multiply like rabbits. Half of the human race under 18. Now, almost 1 billion of them, 10% or more, live in extreme survival conditions. They have no clean water, no sanitation, and no education. We have 1 billion of them, 1,000 million. Now comes something more. 1.1 billion live in acute poverty, and 1.8 billion, 23% almost of the world population, they live with less than $3.65 per day. $3.65 per day, they live under it. So they have about $3, $2 a day to live. So what is going to happen if the Strait of Hormuz, which the Iranians supposed to locked, and America wants open, that's why they lock it even more. So what's going to happen if no fuel, if no fertilizer, no gas, any of this is going through? Of course, some waste going to be found, but stuff is getting extremely expensive. Now, if somebody in the, let's say in the poor countries, Sub-Saharan Africa, vast parts of Southeast Asia, parts of Central and South America. What happens if people, and in the United States, poor people feel it already, have to pay double for fuel? And they cannot. If you live in a country where you make less than, let's say, $3 a day, how are you going to pay gasoline? You cannot, even if you wanted to. So you can't go to work. And if you don't go to work, you don't get any money, not even these $3. There we go. Plus, the ones who still can walk or take a bicycle or do whatever. We talk about the major amount of people who live in the big cities and have no garden to put a few carrots in there or a potato or a cucumber. No, most of these poor people live in very vast cities, very vast areas. So even if they take the bicycle or walk to work for their $3 a day, if food gets up double the price, 3 times the price, even with their $3 they cannot eat. So that's the idea behind the blockade. Get rid of half of the human population. Starve them to death. The United States, this Mr. Trump and all of the people around him, they are puppets on a string anyway, but they know the war is not about anything else The war really is only in the sidelines against Iran. Sure, they want to give Iran to Israel as a gift, and they're looking for it for a long time. Sure, they would like to go between Russia and China and got a country under control so they don't grow too far. All of this is true. But the main reason, besides this kind of excuse, is to get rid, starve the poor, uneducated masses of people, which will be an enormous burden in the near future in a society which is run by artificial intelligence. So the ones who finance with billions of dollars the American political class and control the American political class, like Trump or anybody who is going to come from the Democrats to the Republicans, doesn't matter. They're all controlled, they're all being fed with tons of money, because the ones who hold the strings are the ones who having the technology and have the interest to put the technology to work. And for that, they have to get rid of most of the people. They want to keep, we go back to COVID-19 now, they want to keep the healthy and young and highly educated Western people who can work in that field, in this technical field, which is needed in the future. And all the people, the field workers, the street cleaners and all of that of the third world, and all these masses of unemployeds there, which multiply so fast, they have to be controlled. They have to be taken out. So when we look at the statistics here, we can say if, let's say, the Strait of Hormuz is staying closed for another 3 to 6 months, and fuel is double and food is double or even triple, then it is not only a speculation, but it is probably the truth that almost 50% of the human population is starving, and at least 25% will be starved to death. So there will be 25-30% of human population wiped out from this planet. And this is the real reason for the war in Iran. It is always, you have to know, there's always a story behind the story. They give you a story, we have to go to war, for example, because of this and that, and we have to get rid of a certain group of people on the other side of the world, because they threaten us. Here in America or in Europe, we have the feeling that the Iranian army is marching in, nonsense like that, or whatever they want to. They come up with something to kill a lot of people. That's, by the way, also nice to kill on the side more people, because then you can build more weapons which you use up, and there's so much money to be made. But the main reason, and I just told you, that behind the story, the official story, which is being fed to the public, there is always a second layer or a third layer, a third story behind. They never tell you the real thing. They never tell you what's really going on. And now you know the war is to get rid of a minimum of 25%, 2.5 to 3 billion people on this planet. Starve them to death. This is the plan. Thanks for listening.